After this is the exhaustive search. लेकिन उससे पहले, before starting this topic, we will talk about a space search technique in which we will understand the eight puzzle problem one by one. So I am sharing another file with you all in which we will discuss about the space search technique or the space search strategy. Okay, so I hope the file is visible to all of you about the state space search. Eight different we have discussed about the two search strategies, and in that we will talk about the uninformed search strategy, in which we are talking about the state space search. So state space search क्या है? State space search in artificial intelligence is a fundamental technique used to solve problem by navigating through a series of a state and the transitions. Okay, so this we have understood also in yesterday lecture also. In this approach, ये कौन सी approach है? It's a uninformed approach. So whatever the possible states can be there, series by series and one by one, we will go to that particular state. So in this approach, a problem is represented as a collection of states, each depicting a specific configuration, and the transition represent possible actions or moves between these states. What are the possible actions or the moves? If we are talking about the 8 puzzle problem, we have discussed yesterday that four kind of actions can be there: left, right, top or bottom if the blank slide is present in a middle, right? अगर middle में होगी तो उसके 4 actions हो सकते हैं, whether it can be moved to a top or it can be moved to a bottom or it can be moved to a left or it can be moved to a right. It depends on where the blank slide is present or blank tile is present. According to that, according to an initial state, we will understand our next move or action. So this concept is analogous to finding a path through a complex maze, and each decision or action leads to a new state. Whatever the action we will perform or the decision we will take to perform this action, new state will be there, and the goal is to discover the optimal sequence of action that leads to a desired outcome. So what we are saying that, and after particular action, we will check new state will occur and we will check whether this is a goal state or not. So by applying the state space search, first we are discussing and then we will discuss this with a complete graph also. AI system can effectively tackle a diverse array of problems ranging from robotics and a game playing to a natural language processing and scheduling. So this search strategy can be used in these kind of problems, and it serves as a crucial role or crucial tool for enabling machines to make intelligent decisions and then find the optimal solutions in a complex and a dynamic environment. So in the state space search, we can solve a complex problems also. So what are the steps?
स्टेट स्पेस सर्च में भी जितने भी सारे चांसेस रहेंगे, हर एक स्टेप्स के बाद ट्रांजिशन स्टेट, एक्शन परफॉर्म होने के बाद कौन स्टेट में आते हैं, फाइनल किस में गया, इनिशियल, मतलब जितने भी सारे स्टेट्स होंगे प्रॉब्लम के वो आएंगे ना इसमें.
Yes, all possible states we will follow after a particular action, and all possible states we will then we will check with the goal state whether the goal state has been met or not, right? So state space representation कैसे represent करेंगे, क्या क्या we need to have in that. The state space representation involves identifying an initial state. First, the problem state or the initial state need to be identified, and a goal state. As we have discussed, so what we are discussing in this goal-based agent or the goal formulation. So in this, first we need to identify the state, which is a problem state, and a goal state, and what we need to have. Then finding a sequence of actions to navigate from former to a later. And here we provide a definition for important terminologies required during the state space search. what are the important definitions, what is the state, state क्या है, it can be initial state जो कि problem state होगी, और the goal state जिसके जहां तक हमें जाना है, और any state generated by applying the rules, और बीच में जो भी state आएगी after performing a particular action or a move. And what is a space? In AI, the space consists of a complete set of conveyable states for a given problem. इस स्टेट से और कौन कितनी स्टेट्स में ये जा सकता है आफ्टर पर्टिकुलर मूव. Then what is a search? This technique progresses from initial state to the desired state by applying the effective rules within the space of all possible states. In between, we will search for a particular goal state also. Then the search tree. It is a visual representation or the visualization of a problem starting from initial state to the root state or the root node or the goal state here. Then the transition model. We have discussed the transition model in yesterday's lecture also, which describe the impact of each action. Path cost. Assign a value to each sequence connecting the start and the end nodes, with the optimal option having the lowest cost. So we have discussed about few terms that we will understand in the space state search. State space search. So conducting a state space search with a graph involves exploring a set of nodes and the edges. You need to know what comes under the node and what should comes under the edges, with the goal of finding a path from initial node to a goal node. An initial node, you can say the initial state or the problem state, and the goal node is the goal state. You need to have a optimal node here, right? So below is the step-by-step procedure for conducting a state space search using a graph. So what steps you need to follow? First, you need to define the problem. In every AI system or in every problem, first you need to clearly define the problem, all the characteristics of a problem. You need to define clearly the state of a problem, in which initial state the problem is having, what initial state the problem is having, and then you need to specify the initial node and the goal node, the goal state, and the set of the possible transition edges between the nodes. Then you need to create a graph. Represent the problem as a directed or the undirected graph. Here we will talk about any kind of a graph where the nodes represent the states and the edges represent the possible transition or the action. Or simply, edges will say we had moved to, in the 8 puzzle problem, we had moved from left to right or left to right to top, right? So all possible transitions of the action. In step 3, select a search algorithm. What search algorithm you are using? Choose an appropriate search algorithm based on the characteristics of a problem. Right? We have discussed the characteristics. कि क्या होती है characteristics problem में? In while searching for a particular solution, while searching for a or while selecting for a particular search algorithm, first you need to understand the problem with the proper characteristics of a problem. And the graph. So common choices will be BFS or the depth first search. ये हम सब डिस्कस करेंगे डिटेल में. We will discuss all these searches also again. Now in the step 4, initialize the data structure. Now what is the data structure? Create a data structure to keep the track of a visited nodes and node to be explored, and add the initial node to the list of a node to be explored. Graph में, right? Then iterate through the graph. Iterations भी perform करने हैं आपको. Verify whether the goal state has been obtained or not, right? Check for the goal node and then manage the visited node. Keep the track of a visited node to avoid the revisiting them and potentially entering the loops. अब ये सबसे इम्पोर्टेंट स्टेप है कि पहले अगर किसी स्लाइड को मूव करके पहले वो स्टेट आ चुकी है तो दोबारा से वो स्टेट ना आए, और वो गोल स्टेट नहीं थी तो उस स्टेट तक आप पहले ही जा चुके हैं. Then update the data structure. Again, the data structure will be there. Then repeat all the steps and until the goal node is found. एंड अगेन बैक ट्रैक। ये स्टेप्स आपको अब समझ में आ जाएंगे जब हम एक ग्राफ में बात करेंगे। सो दिस इज योर इनिशियल स्टेट, लेट्स से दिस इज योर इनिशियल स्टेट in which there is a empty space is represented by a blank square। ये आपकी इनिशियल स्टेट है एंड आपने डिफाइन करा गोल स्टेट में कि यू नीड टू हैव दिस गोल स्टेट 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 और जो ब्लैंक वाला जो फोर्थ पोजीशन पे था वो लास्ट में आ जाए और आपका अरेंज हो जाए नंबर्स लाइक दिस 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8। सो फर्स्टली यू understood about the problem, you had identified the initial state and you had identified the goal state also। स्टेप 2 में आपने गोल स्टेट भी फॉलो कर। देन स्टेप 3 में आपको लीगल मूव्स पता चले। लीगल मूव्स क्या हैं? इफ वी टॉक अबाउट द इनिशियल स्टेट, द ब्लैंक slide or the blank block can be slide to the right, to the top and to the bottom, but cannot be slide to the left। Why cannot be slide to the left? Because left में उसके पास जगह ही नहीं है, ठीक है। So 3 possible moves will be there। So in step 3 you had decided about the, you had talked about the legal moves। Tile can be moved into the empty space if they are adjacent to it, either horizontally, vertically or not diagonally। So सबसे पहले आपने legal moves देखे कि diagonal moves cannot be possible, but horizontal or vertical is possible। This means that any given state you can slide a neighboring tile into an empty space, right? Then the objective, objective क्या है आपका? Objective is to find a sequence of moves that transform the initial configuration into a goal configuration। Your objective is that you need to find that particular sequence of moves that can lead to a particular goal state। Then you will take about the state space search and then the solution will be obtained। So what is a graph? This is your graph, ठीक है। ये आपका इनिशियल स्टेट था एंड देन दिस इज योर गोल स्टेट। अब आपको इस गोल स्टेट तक आना है तो आपने पहले इनिशियल स्टेट से 3 मूव जो पॉसिबल थे वो आपने करके देखे। आपने पहले 4 को, सॉरी, जो आपका ब्लैंक स्लाइड था आपने पहले उसे टॉप मूव कर दिया। तो आपका फर्स्ट वाला जो है दिस फर्स्ट आपका जो है स्टेट आ गया जिसमें आपका in which the one is moved to a blank and blank has moved to the top, blank slide has moved to a top। So this is the move in which the blank slide moves to the top after in a second, and this state particular you had achieved। And after that, and another possible move is that that blank slide can move to a right। So if you move the blank slide to a right, or you exchange your blank slide to the blank tile to a right, then 4 comes to the blank slide and in place of a 4 the blank will there। So this is a particular state, and after moving that blank block to a bottom, you will have this third state। So after observing all these 3 states, you observe that somewhere you have achieved your goal state first position 1 2 3 and the 4 6 and the 7 5 8। So you circle that state and you understood that after performing a particular move कितने कम moves करने पड़ेंगे आपको second वाली state में। तो you choose that second state में आपको पता चला if you move a particular 5 to the top and blank to a bottom, you will be very nearest to the goal state within a one move only। So you had started your moving from the second state। यहाँ पर आपने second state से move करना start किया। In that again 4 possible moves will be there and you had done the best possible moves in which you move your blank block to the bottom and the 5 will move to the blank block, which is the another nearest state of your goal state. If you observe your goal state, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 has been achieved till this state. So this is the best. Another two states are not best because third state में तो आपका first जो achieve हुआ था 1, 2, 3 वो भी चला गया, and second state में again जो 6 अपनी जगह पे था वो भी वहां से हट गया. So here we have choose another possible state space search के according, and then the last, by observing or by following this particular state, you will have your solution in a best optimal way. So these are the sequence here we have followed, right? Or इसी में अगर if we will talk about the different steps, so these steps are: first you will search, first you will talk about the initial state. In the 8 puzzle problems, start with the initial configuration, where 8 number tiles, usually from 1 to 8, and one empty space are arranged randomly within a 3 by 3 grid. So for an initial state, you have this kind of a tile here, right? Here the empty space represent the blank square. Another, in a step 2, you need to identify the goal state. The goal state is to reach a predefined target state which has been there, which typically has the tiles arranged in a numerical order. So the empty space is usually at the bottom right corner. So you need to place that empty block or the blank square to the bottom right corner. The goal state should look like this. Then you understand the various legal moves. Tile moved into an empty space. You understood about the conditions or the rules if they are adjacent to it, either horizontally or vertically, not diagonally. This means that any given state you can slide a neighboring tile into an empty space. Then the objective. What is your objective here? The objective is to find a sequence of moves that transform the initial configuration into a goal configuration, and each move represents a state transition. For that, you are using the state space search algorithms like the BFS are used to systematically explore the possible states and find an optimal solution. These algorithms evaluate and prioritize the states based on a certain criteria, such as the distance to a goal state. जल्द से जल्द आप goal state पे पहुंच जाओ. So the goal or the solution is a series of moves here that, when achieved to the initial configuration, to the goal configuration, a sequence of moves look like this here. So these are the sequence of moves, right? So here we have talked about the state space search.